Hello, my name is Josh Knight, and in this presentation, my group and myself will be discussing whether working for the exposure is a satisfactory situation for an up-and-coming creative artist. So firstly, what is working for exposure? Working for exposure is giving your current skill set to a certain employer for free, so you're just working for them with no financial benefit whatsoever, just giving them their skills and then they're either promoting you or giving you experience in your certain career path. According to Saberpedia 2022, employee exposure refers to any situation in which an employee comes into contact with a substance or agent that is relevant. Working for the exposure has many positives and negatives for someone working in the creative industry, especially a filmmaker like myself. So in this presentation, me and my peers will be discussing them and coming to a conclusion as to whether working for exposure is a satisfactory situation for an up-and-coming creative artist.
Here are some reasons why working for exposure is good. Working for exposure gives you hand-on experience with being in a job-like environment. It teaches you the discipline of working to a tight schedule, as it has similar expectations to a regular job. And if you do not meet these expectations, then you could lose your internship or role. This experience is essential in being successful in any career, even if you are not getting paid for it. If you are at a job interview, you would have advantages over other people, as you would have a bigger portfolio than somebody else. Working for the exposure can also bring opportunities and help to build your reputation for other future projects. If you were to collaborate with somebody on a creative project, not only could you potentially get more traffic towards your own work, but you would have also developed a relationship with people you have worked with, opening more opportunities for more work.
Even though working for exposure has its advantages, it also comes with disadvantages. The most obvious downside is that you are working, spending time and possibly money to do a job for free, which you would normally expect money from. Even though you are being repaid with exposure and representation, up-and-coming creative artists still need to be earning money, which is hard when businesses constantly offer that you work for exposure instead of money. Adding on to this, creative artists frequently working for exposure creates an expectation that all businesses can expect that new artists with little experience can, should and will work for free, when this shouldn't be the case, as a lot of artists depend on money from work to continue doing their profession. I believe artists shouldn't work for free, as films they produce have as much value as other films on the market.
How does working for exposure affect us as university students? As uni students, most of us have no experience working in the creative industry. This is why working for exposure can be good, as it gives us the opportunity to work in the industry and see what it is like. It gives us the chance to experience different job roles and observe other working professionals, which helps us to decide our future paths and where we want to go. It also means that we can make mistakes and learn from them without the risk of losing our job with a steady income. As young filmmakers working for free, it can be expected that we may trip up sometimes and make mistakes, but the directors will be understanding of this. Lots of students at universities are offered the opportunity to work for exposure, and so by the time we leave, our CVs are full of great experience. On the other hand, when we do leave, it was found in a study that 42% of students take unpaid work after leaving university, only 42% of those 45 are hired in a paid role afterwards. So perhaps working for exposure really has no effect on us at all, and in the end it is down to our talent and hard work to get us hired.
Unpaid work in filmmaking generally comes about through two different ways. One, being approached by a friend group, musicianal firm, or through internships with film production companies. Sometimes it can be mutually beneficial. For example, I might be approached by a producer to have a collaborative project where I either contribute the lyrics and vocals to a song or the film. We then release this on either SoundCloud or YouTube, and it enhances our exposure, particularly if we get lots of likes and shares. However, an unpaid internship is a bit more like a job, but with similar expectations and responsibilities as paid employment, but without any of the wages. As a young filmmaker, I do see the benefits of getting exposure, particularly if the work is attributed to me and is widely circulated on social media platforms such as YouTube or Facebook or Twitter. This is particularly the case if I do unpaid work for a charity or volunteer group, because my work benefits society even if it is only in a small way. However, I also agree that it can be very exploitative and even unaffordable to do. For example, I live in rural Cornwall, so paying my living costs such as housing and travel whilst I'm doing like an unpaid internship in a city just wouldn't be feasible. In conclusion, the expectation for young people to take internships is very high. However, some would argue that is no longer necessary with the development of social media, making it way easier to find freelance work.